students are sort of like aliens. They change when they get here, and after they leave, they return back to human again. It's just the nature of the beast, but it makes the job fun and interesting, and that's probably why I like middle school, because every day is different.
The kids are divided into 7th grade, 8th grade. 7th grade is downstairs, 8th grade is upstairs. There are 2 teams in 7th grade. There's a 4-teacher team and a 2-teacher team downstairs. Upstairs in 8th grade, it is, the kids are grouped. They don't follow the same classes around. Some kids actually spread out due to integrated math. Each class, core class or elective class, is 66 minutes long. There's only one elective course, and there is an IE time. It is different from 7th and 8th, and I'm trying to look at the schedule here. 7th grade, I'm not sure of the IE time for them. But 8th grade and 7th grade are on different schedules, but they have the same amount of time for each class. Planning for 7th grade is actually at the beginning of the school day, so they don't have a first block teaching, but 8th grade they are teaching first. And it swaps even on 8th grade hall. I'm teaching a class while the other 8th grade teachers aren't teaching the class. All the teachers get together, they discuss student learning. Right now, there are 5 PLCs that occur. You have 8th grade team A, 8th grade team B, 7th grade team A, 7th grade team B, and electives. Somewhere online I saw science notebook. And I said, okay, that seems feasible. They don't have to carry one notebook. They don't have to carry a binder. So their very first page is the author's page. Following the author's page, you have table of contents. And on even and odd pages, you get something different. Even pages are the notes, and then odd pages are a reflection of the notes. It could either be creating questions based on the notes or a picture based on the notes. My favorite thing to do is a group think. So whenever they take vocabulary words, they have to group the words based on what they have
in common. Middle school students need to be able to use visual aids such as charts and illustrations, as well as somewhat more sophisticated graphs and diagrams, especially when the material is new. Middle school students need to be given the opportunity to explore hypothetical questions. Some examples may include having students writing position papers and exchanging them with the opposing sides, having debates, or writing about a personal vision of their utopia. Teachers should look for opportunities to allow students to solve problems and reason scientifically. One example would be for the teacher to set up group discussions in which students design experiments to answer questions. Whenever possible, teachers need to remember to teach broad concepts instead of just facts, and using materials and ideas that are relevant to students' everyday lives.
So the kids are really just about finding themselves, establishing an identity, very impulsive. I think part of that is because as they've been growing up, any undesirable behaviors had a short-term consequence, a verbal reprimand, placed in timeout for a few minutes. And so they're not able to see past right now. So the impulsive behaviors, they don't recognize that we're getting at the age where there's long-term consequences to those impulsive behaviors. So from a teaching standpoint, it's important to provide structure, set clear parameters, give them that room that they need to grow and develop, to make some wrong choices, because that's some of the best lessons that we've had, as long as those long choices aren't major long choices. But allowing them to quench that thirst of finding themselves and figuring the world out around them, but making sure that there's clear parameters and boundaries on what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, what we can tolerate. But with any student, the key for success as a teacher, my belief, is just establishing that relationship of trust and respect, and even at this time where they're defiant to all rules and authority, it still comes down to them respecting you as a person rather than the person that's laying down the rules.
And when he got to middle school, the summer between elementary and middle school, he was really dreading going to middle school. He was just so scared because he didn't want to be picked on anymore. And we kept telling him, think positive, this is going to be the best year ever. And then he got to 7th grade and came home after the first day of school and said, it's going to be a good year. So he the transition from elementary to middle school was pretty easy for him. For 7th grade, he's still a little impulsive. He'll respond before thinking. He's getting a little bit better, though. Last year, 7th grade was probably one of his best years yet. 8th grade has been even better because he's growing up, maturing a little bit, taking a little more responsibility for himself and his actions. He's still not telling me every time he's got homework, and so I have to constantly be asking him, what have you got to do tonight? What are you supposed to do in this class and that class? And help him keep up. But he is, a 13-year-old boy, and 13-year-old boys, academics is not their focus, unfortunately. Most 13-year-old boys. Like I said, he's still a little bit impulsive, but not quite as much. He's learning to count to 5. I wish he'd count to 10 before he responds to any external stimuli, I guess you could say. But he is doing better in middle school than elementary school. He's, like I said, matured a little bit, trying to find his place and decide who he is before he gets to high school, because I hope that he's already got his own kind of way before he gets to high school. That way he won't be influenced in a negative way by some of the older kids in high school who, some of them that have an impact on other kids will try to get to those 9th graders as they get in and bring them over to the dark side, so to speak. But I think he'll be pretty well set in who he is as a person, as a student, and he'll make that transition to high school pretty easily. So I guess middle school boys are impulsive, a little bit irresponsible. Mine, for the most part, has gotten a little bit more responsible this year, but still working on it. Academics are definitely not their focus, but getting there, making their way.